Okay, today we're going to assemble the Easy For You pop-up greenhouse. We have a lot of small trees in our small area here, 3-acre lot, and even though we wrapped them properly with the cloth and freeze protection, and I make sure it's really nice and tight, if you have a freeze that goes on for several days or a very deep freeze, man, it just doesn't help, seems like. I've lost so many plants down here in Texas even, where we either had multiple days of freezing, or we got into the single digits at times in the last couple of winters. Okay, I had to cut the tape for the bag, that bag within a bag. So not much there. I will do a close-up of the SKU here to be sure we're talking apples and apples for your item. Again, here's a slightly better picture. Easy For You, I like that name. Easy For You pop-up greenhouse. Picture only for reference, not including the plant. So that's important information. Oh, this is cool. This is a permanent carrier that you don't want to cut. It's got a zipper, and it's got some metal stakes, and it has instructions right there on the inside. And it's very exotic because it's made in China. Very exotic product here. It says, take the greenhouse from the bag, stretch the greenhouse according to the arrows from the picture. I guess it's pictures right here. Then the greenhouse is stand. When used outdoor, use the ground stakes to hold it down. Wow, so that sounds pretty easy. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so it's yeah, don't go crazy on the unfolding so you can see how it's done. It's I think we call it the tortilla fold, and you kind of, I've done this before with big baseball coaching nets, where you had the baseball players hit into a net. They're big, they're much bigger than this. So you see how that goes? You make a tortilla, you kind of fold the two halves together. Oh man, I've already screwed it up. And then it feels like you're going to break it, but dang it, did I already? Oh, you tuck it in and let it fold together, and they'll stay pretty good. When it's really big, they're kind of dangerous. You have to throw it in the air and it pops open. So this is pretty neat, and you'll want to practice that. To fold it back. Now, if you got a lot of room, just leave it like this and just hang it up. A lot of times they have a loop at the top. We'll unpack it a little bit more later. But anyway, you could just leave it like this. But if you really want to get it back into that bag, let's see if we can do this. First thing you do is kind of fold it in half, kind of hold it, and then tuck it. Is that right? Tuck it. Yeah, here we go. And then this goes around. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I don't know if I can do it again, but that's how these things fold. Look at that. It kind of, it feels like you're going to break it. You know, you think you're thinking this isn't right. This is too hard. But again, let's try it again. We're going to fold it in half, and as we're going, we kind of curl the side. One of them, they kind of tuck into each other. And it's not as pretty, but it does the job. And you can tell when you reach over the halfway point, it's not in a terrible strain anymore. But you can tell just a little bit of opening, and it's wanting to open up big time. So, okay, this is kind of nice. So it looks like you open it up. And all right, here we go. So it's got here's the bottom, of course. We're opening this puppy up, and wow, that was pretty easy. So I like the fact that they have extra material that's kind of flaccid right down here at the bottom, because one of the problems with these pop-up tents of other brands is that they just had this real tight hem. And the problem with that is during the wintertime you can get windy days and you get a draft under the tent. Even if it's staked down and it's not a danger of blowing away, it's still very drafty. I like this where we can pull this out and we can put brick to help hold it down and to close off the bottom, or you can put straw, pine straw or hay around the periphery. But yeah, I do like this. And I want to turn this around. It's got a cool little door, so you don't have to unstake it to check on your plant. Well, for one thing, it's transparent, which is nice. You can see if your tree is doing okay or your bush or whatever. But if you need to tend to something, here's one of these zippers that's coming apart though. Let's see if we can go around. Okay, that's zipped up, and now we're unzipping. And look at that. You can get, and you look, you can tie it up. If you need to do a lot of pruning or something, you can do the door there. So yeah, I like this quite a bit. It's got the loose hem to keep out the draft. It's got the cool door to do pruning or take care of the plant. But again, one of the problems I have with any of these covers is that their goal is to trap the heat that radiates from the earth and to keep it in and around the plant. The ground cools off a lot slower than the air, and so you're counting on a freeze that it doesn't last long, so that the heat from the earth will raise the temperature inside the trapped tent here, and it'll raise the degree, I don't know, 2 to 5 degrees is what I've heard. So the problem is if you have a deeper freeze, and like I said, even down here in Texas, we've had single-digit freezes that went on for days at least, and I lost a lot of plants that I had covered properly. So one of the things we've developed is the Haslet Garden Mini Heater. It's really nice. It's got a built-in thermostat, and it's got a low-powered fan that blows warm air into the tent, and when it reaches about 45 or 50 degrees, it turns off. When it reaches freezing, as the temperature drops and it reaches freezing, it turns on. So what I like about it is you just plug it in and walk away. It's ready to go. You put it in, and you want the thermostat near the plant, and I can't see it, but you want it to blow towards the side. You don't want hot air blowing on your plant, although this is purposely designed to have a low-powered fan with low heat. The heat is only about 90 to 100 degrees, so that you don't accidentally burn a plant. So again, and it's got a plug. You got to plug it in, and I'm sure we can sneak a hole or through the zipper or whatever. And so what we'll have is weather protection for the plant, and if things get really cold, we'll have the Haslet Products mini heater to keep things warm inside for our plant. Actually, I should demonstrate this outside, but it's easier here inside the workshop. At each corner, there's a loop, and what you're supposed to do is take your stake and don't go straight down. That's the most natural thing to want to do, but they're easily pulled up out of the ground. If the wind hits this just right, it can pull these stakes right out of the ground. A stronger way to do it is to put it in at a steep angle, about 45 degrees, and stab it into the ground, and stab it with the crook away from the plant, and as you go all the way down until you trap that loop, you're going to push it all the way to only this little bend right here is sticking out of the ground, because you want to trap that loop, because if you go only about halfway, the wind will bounce this thing around, and oftentimes it'll bounce the loop right out and away from the stake. So push it all the way down, and just and you won't lose it, because when it comes time to put this away, you can pull gently on the corner, and that loop will help pull the stake out. But go in at an angle, because that's much stronger than going straight down.